Well, yet another Friday. Exciting Friday. Thank you for joining in. This is the Family Hour here at Church of Uganda Family TV. My beautiful name is Clare Bwenje, the world's favorite host. Thank you very much for joining in, and don't forget that this show is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can check them out on the website or social media platforms. They'll be glad and very happy to connect with you. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an exciting couple, like you can see, and we are very, very happy to have them here. I know you will really enjoy their sharing. None other than Mr. Isaac Tibasiima, together with his dear wife, Lillian Tibasiima. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about raising self-resilient children, empowering them with practical life skills. I know it's timely. Every parent would love to really do this. The holiday is on the way, and it will be the right time to practice all this. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcome this great couple to share with us this evening. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you. Being here too.
Lillian, you look lovely. Isaac, what are you doing that we do not know about? We need to know.
Husbands, love your wives as Christ has loved the church.
Okay, so you're doing exactly that. I like that.
Every other thing is none of your business. But she's an amazing wife.
Sure, we can see.
I always tell her and other people, if I had to make the choice again, I would still marry her.
A zillion times. Hey, Mama, you should take him out on a date today. I mean, those lines are serious ones. Happy to have you on the show. Please say hello to the viewer, and then we'll continue.
Hello, viewers. It's good to be here at Family TV, and we look forward to sharing this great experience of our journey, but also having to raise a very interesting person in our lives, and to do this with my wife as co-parents, co-sharing this responsibility, and knowing that, of course, we need to give it our best. It's what God has given us, and we cannot take it for granted. And we look forward to sharing our experiences. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. Lillian, please say hello.
Hello, viewers. We are honored and privileged to be here at Family TV to share our parenting journey. It's a journey that we're embarking on. We hope to share some exciting experiences, and I hope we'll be able to share something we can all pick a leaf from as we embark on our first term holiday. Thank you for inviting us.
You're welcome. Happy to have you, and definitely we'll start from all that. How is parenting? Would you please share your experience? How easy is it? How hard is it? Is there a manual? Please, let's hear from you.
I don't know if there's a manual about parenting. I think children come in their own way. They come with their own differences.
Exactly.
And I think having grown up in a family where we were 3 children with my brother and sister, and seeing the differences that we've had even after all these years, shows you what kind of baggage we could really have been to our parents. But also I think because every child is different, you cannot say that there is this written manual for a child. There is, you deal with every child as they come. So will I say it is hard or easy? I think we learned, I don't know about my wife, but we learned on the job. I still remember, I don't know if she does remember this, the first time we trained our girl to sleep, I got her and told my wife, put her in her bed and leave. and I remember she screamed and cried, and my wife said, no, but I said, no, crying never killed a child. She will learn. And after 2 days, she learned to sleep on her own. And up to today, if the lights are on, she will not sleep. Up to today. Of course, they have their battles when it comes to sleeping. She's always telling us, I think she tells me this too, I am not ready to sleep. And when you take her to, actually you may say, okay, you stay around, and then she will all of a sudden start dozing. But I think it's about us having to learn along the way, to know that this works for her, this does not work for her. And also as parents, I think one of the most interesting things and beautiful things we've had to learn is especially discipline. If she disciplines her, I'll not say anything. And if I discipline her, she'll say nothing. Because we have learned that there must not be politics, because then she can learn, if I want to do something, I'll go to mommy or I'll go to daddy. She knows that there is one voice about certain things. I remember a moment, I think she wanted to put on something, and so I was in the bedroom, and then she was arguing with the mother about it. And the mother told her, "You're not going to put that on." So she came to me, I think in her mind thinking. So when she told me, I listened to her and I asked, "So what did mommy say?" She said, "Mommy says I cannot wear it, but then I said, you see, if mommy has said that you're not wearing it, you're not going to wear it." Why? I said, "Because your mother and I have said so."
Wow.
And I mean, sometimes that's a tough experience.
Definitely.
You break with it knowing that, okay, this is not nice. But then you realize that you're training your child to realize that sometimes it's going to be no, sometimes it's going to be yes. Last night we were having a conversation and I was told about an episode they had. And I smiled because I think she's starting to realize that my mom can say no. Yes. And when she says no, she's really, really serious about it. Because there are many times together, and I think she imagines, we are friends, we're this and the other. But even when she knows the limits with both of us, she tries to extend them, and then she realizes that we are not budging. And I think it's having to learn these little steps along the way. I don't know about my wife, but there are times when I get worried about 13. Strangely, the lady looks forward to 13. She keeps telling me 3 years to the teenage years. I'm thinking, we're in for. But it's not hard. I think parenting is about you saying, we're going to learn on the job and learn to do it right. As long as we do what is right, train her in the ways of God, so that at the end of it all, we're not going to have to feel the pain that we didn't do our job. And for me. For my wife, that's really, really important.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Thank you very much. Maybe we will pick it up from you, Lillian. How is it?
He mentioned independency. We put her in her crib at 1 month. Yeah, when she turned 1 month.
What? Oh my goodness.
When she turned 1 month, that was our first step into independency.
Wow.
We got out of our bed. We ensure we have a smaller bed where she doesn't fit. So even right now, we tell her you can't fit in our bed. It's just for 2 people. So from the first month, we put her in her own crib. And that was our first step towards independence. And she's a very independent child. So I think Isaac and I have been privileged that we raised that child ourselves. I took off the first 3 years of her life to just be at home to raise her. And so we had the privilege of watching her. We can never wake up and down blame someone else for whichever she will turn out. We are doing our best as parents, and we are trusting God. We read on parenting. I thank God I grew up in a home where I had both my mother and my father together. They are making about 45 years in marriage soon. Yes, so that has taught me that you're in charge of your children.
Definitely.
Even during holidays, our parents would be with us at home. They would take you to visit relatives, but you have to sleep in your bed, you have to sleep in your house. And you come from a part of a country where it's 20 minutes to this village and another 30, so we never used to sleep there. I would go visit, come back home. So we have also learned that we are responsible for raising our own children. And so from 1 month, independency. And as you have said, we speak one language. I remember during lockdown, he would teach her intently the King James Version of the Bible. She was about 5 years. And it's difficult, the English. And then he would make sure she's going to sound every word. Of course, I'd be dying inside, like, can't you be at least good news, But then I wouldn't say a word. At times I'd want to get out, I'd want to help her, but we had agreed we were speaking one language.
I like that.
And because we spent the 2 years just teaching her the Bible. We didn't take her to school, we didn't do Zoom meetings. So after lockdown, when she went back to school, she began excelling. She started to write, she was on TV, she was in paper, she was on Toto magazine, she was everywhere as a writer. And then I remember that training the father had given her, was helping her to excel. So I said, imagine at last time if I had hindered him. So some of those things, so I feel like, aren't you being too hard? But ultimately at the end, when she began to excel as a writer, she would participate in reading competitions and she would excel. And I'll take her everywhere and she's excelling. And I said, I know your father is, I'll tell them the father is not here, but behind the success that you're seeing, it is the father who pushed the reading, the reading culture. Yeah, so we speak the same language. At times you might feel like, you want to say something, but you're like, no, we are one.
Yeah, I actually love that. And it's sort of like a take home of speaking one language as parents, because sometimes you find the parent is saying this, trying to discipline in this area, and the other one is like, okay, especially phones. I usually hear people talk about phones. Me, I don't want the children to carry phones at this time. But then one of the parents like, okay, get my phone. So you find they're really, really disagreeing at that. So when you talk about that, I really, really appreciate it. So let's go to our topic. When we talk about really raising self-resilient children, what rings the bell?
I think in my world as a teacher, a self-resilient child is one who will easily go through life and get to understand that I don't always need to have someone, one, to validate me, but also someone who has to always help me. And when I say help, I'm not saying it the negative way. There is helping people to achieve their potential. And I think as professionals, for us, that's important that you help, for example, my students, I have to help them to achieve their very best. But this whole idea of thinking that for me to do certain things, there must be someone all the time becomes a bit problematic. So there is moments when I've had to, I think we had this very interesting event, when was it, at the weekend, where she came to me with a question. She actually knew the answer, but probably did not know if it was connected to that. And so when she came, I didn't tell her the answer. I simply asked, what do you think it is? And so as she went on explaining and got the final answer, I asked her, so what were you asking me?
Oh my God. How easy is it actually, especially for like a young child? Don't they feel like that is being hard on me?
I don't know, because she doesn't say it. But you see, the thing for me that amused me is she also took it gracefully. So
I like that.
She kept answering the questions. And I think for self-resilience, it's more the idea of a child realizing that I can actually achieve this if I take the time to, one, listen, secondly, to learn, but also to realize that there are people who can help me, but I must put effort in whatever it is that I'm doing. So there are moments when we've had to have really deep conversations about her work, or really deep conversations about waking up in the morning to just do nothing. And said, but you just cannot do that. and you know, there are times when I've had to tell her, you know, when I was growing up, my mom used to put up, I don't know what was wrong with her parents, that now we realize was really right.
Yeah.
That you know, she would tell you, I need you to dig that part, and then you would do it so badly. Or you would pretend that you've done it, and then she would come and just push away the soil and the grass, and then she would say, but there is grass here, you've not done what I've asked you to do. And so we've had to do that, to say you cannot wake up to just sit and read. You cannot wake up to just take tea. There's a time we actually told her, you cannot wake us up to make you breakfast. And I remember that week, hey, the mom told her, you are not waking us up to make you breakfast. And she knows where everything is. And so she could actually go and do this on her own.
At what age? At what age was she?
8, 9, maybe.
Okay. No, 9.
Last year. Last year, yeah. And I think for me, resilience is the ability to withstand everything, to understand that yes, I may need help, but what effort do I put in before that point when I'll say, I actually can't go beyond this? And I think for us, it's been those moments where you've had to say, okay, this is too hard, but let's see how far she can push it.
Wow.
And the moment
takes a hard heart.
The moment you learn how far she can push it.
Oh my goodness.
Because like the one on the weekend, I said, okay, so this is the thing, but what do you know about this? And seemingly, she knew the idea but didn't know how to put it. So that at the moment when she said, oxygen supports burning, I said, okay, so if you know that oxygen supports burning, what do you think is here? I said, well, there is no oxygen. I said, so what were you asking me? You see?
Wow.
And so the moment you understand that, I think here I have pushed too far, is the moment you let go. But also you've been able to train her to realize that she can't always run to you for help, when she can actually do the initial parts and see how far she can go and where her wits end. This morning, I don't know if you had our conversation. She told me, I know the squares of things. And so she told me from 1 to 12.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That age some of us was still struggling.
I know.
Yeah, but that's the good thing, for you to understand that for a resilient child, it's not that they can't achieve, but it's the fact that even while they can achieve on their own, they also have their limits. But how far can those limits be stretched? And as a parent, you need to understand that if I know how far these limits can be stretched, then I can come in. But if I know that even without coming in, this child can actually get there, you push until you see how far they go.
Wow.
And I'm not saying that it's sometimes it breaks.
Yes.
But it's something you learn over the time that you can actually do this. And the mother always amazes me when she says, no, Murungi, you can actually do that. And so it's up to her.
Wow. Wow. At this point, I would like actually to listen from Lillian now, especially as a mother. To the fathers, it can be easy. It can be so easy. But how easy is it actually for you to find your really, raising them in that direction, and you're like, no, please, you can do this, stuff like that, which is actually somehow not easy for women. So maybe you can give us the advice. Maybe you can give us the advice, or are there steps, or what practical ways?
Yeah. One is, my husband is really a firm foundation. Men can be firm.
Yes.
Yeah,
very.
and so as a wife, you learn to dance to the tone of your husband. Because these children can manipulate. We went to visit a couple.
I've seen that
who had
many
just
times.
given birth, and they had a boy, I think, one something. And the father would try to discipline the boy, and the mother said, he's still so young. I said, that little being, he's not young. Even went to Psalm 58, where it says the children, they start telling lies as soon as they are born. So I said, that little baby that you gave birth to just the other day is already a sinner, because the Bible says they start telling lies as soon as they are born. So for me, it's starting from the little things. When you come from school, she throws her shirt there, her socks. It's easy for me as a mother to pick them and put them into the washing basket. But then I have to call her, where have you thrown the socks? Can you put them in the basket? The easy thing is pick them so I don't have to scream, And you do it over and over and over. And at times you just want to help, but then you realize, just keep hammering it in every day. One day she'll get it. There's a time she was a baby, very young, like 1-2 years thereabout. If I needed to go somewhere, I'd take her to my brother's place. And they had an elder lady who was taking care of the home. And she said, you have a very independent child. Even at 2 years, she knew where to put her things. But now I think because she comes back, so many things on her head, the excitement. So every day you have to see, where have you thrown the uniform? They wear a shirt, a skirt, a tie. So they have so many things, and you find the tie is there, the belt is there, the socks. I'm like, Mronji, can you put your things together and put them in the washing basket? So at this level, it's those small things. You've come back from school. Where have you thrown your homework? And because we have hammed it in, she knows as soon as I get back home, I have to do my homework. None of us will have to remind her. The good thing, oftentimes we don't have another person in the house. It's mainly us. So there is no external factor that is going to come in and do a miracle. She knows I have homework. She has to tell herself every day, come back home, do your homework. No one ever tells her you have to do homework. It's now inbuilt, I have to do homework. And then at what point do we come in? Because now, thanks to Canal Box, you can have unlimited internet at home. And she wants to run to the laptop as soon as she started the work. I said, no, you're not going to get to the laptop. First, do what you can do. And then what you're not able to do, then that's when we come in. You know, so usually she does her homework with her father. I thank him, he's so supportive. You know, I don't remember most of the things I studied, but he does. We've also bought her textbooks. So she wants to run to the laptop. I say, you have a textbook. You have the one of P4, P5. You even have notes. If you've done this topic in P4, can you go back to your old notes and consult? And recently they gave them a project, I think, about teeth. And she did an amazing project. She even said, Mommy, I know no one in my class is going to come up with such a project. We bought glue, we bought manila paper. She drew pictures of that. She has those colored things. She colored them so well. She used her, you know, those gifts that you bought for her from your friend from Israel. They have nice ink. You know, it was so beautiful, a project. Even us were in awe of the work, you know. So at this moment, it's a have you put your uniform? Have you done homework? We know as she grows, it's going to become bigger, but at this level, it's those little small things that we keep on hamming in every day. And yeah, she's getting in.
Wow. Well, thank you for advising a woman watching this. Thank you very much. I'll get back to you, Isaac. Is this something that was influenced by the way you were parented, or it's something that you really had in heart and you're like, this is how I'm going to raise my children, or it was influenced by the way your parents raised you?
I don't know. I grew up with a very tough mother. I've always told people that woman, something about her. And I think it's in adulthood that I've gotten to appreciate the way she raised us. So one of the things I've always remembered was how she, and I've said this to my daughter, how she would wake up in the morning and tell you there is charcoal, there is electricity, there is food. If you want to eat, cook. I've never forgotten those words. She would tell you there is charcoal, there is electricity, and there is food. If you want to cook, rather if you want to eat, you cook. And we grew up in a home where there was no boy or girl. You were children. That's all that mattered. But the other thing I also remember about my mother was how she also, and up to today, I know my wife has noticed this, but I failed to have breakfast without doing something. Because somehow as I grew up, you had to earn your breakfast. Somehow.
Wow.
Somehow you had to earn your... And up to today, I don't know why it's just failed to get out of me. But you had to earn your breakfast. You had to do something before eating. The other thing, of course, as I grew up was you had to do your work. So I think I've also had this sharing with her when we had a problem, I think, with something I noticed with clothes, that you would tell her to do something and she does not rebel, but she does it later than when you told her. So I one time told her how my mom noticed that she would ask me to wash clothes and then I would wash them in the evening so they would be wet. So this one day she says, Isaac, and they should be dry. So I noticed she had found me out. And so the way I've chosen also to do this is to say, okay, maybe our parents could have been old-fashioned, but we turned out good. Yeah. And because we turned out good, I think they knew something. So let's do what we can do. And so sometimes, you know, like she told you, she at some point told me, this is too tough for the girl. And I would say, no, she will get there. And you see, over the years, you notice that there are disciplines she has. She knows you will not go to sleep before praying. She knows we had a battle about certain washing. And all of a sudden, I now don't have to scream about it. I actually get so amused because I find all the washing done. We had a battle about making the bed. That one was a real one until I actually threatened until the time when I acted. And when I acted, because I told her, you see, one time I'm going to find your bed unmade and I'm going to beat you based on your age. So she played it along until one day I was home, and then I went to her bedroom and it was unmet. And I asked, and you know, like mom used to do, what did I tell you? And what did I tell you the consequences would be? And so she always knows. She even knows with the mother that if I do this with my mom, this is what's going to happen. And so I think for me what was important with especially my mother, because I didn't grow up a lot with my dad, my mom was firm. And when she said this is what it's going to be, that is what it would be. So mom would only go to the kitchen on Sunday. Actually, Sunday you never went to the kitchen. I still battle with my wife about being in the kitchen. Mom would never allow us in the kitchen on Sunday, but all the other days, you had to cook. Whether you liked it or not, you had to cook. And so I think that's part of it, but also part of my reading and part of seeing how people raise their children and picking lessons from there to say, okay, maybe this can work. This cannot work. But for every parent, I think one of the things that both of us have learned is you have to be firm. And when the two of you decide on something, stick to that.
Exactly.
It may be hurtful, it will actually hurt at the start.
It does.
Just stick to it and see how far you can go.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm actually still battling with a 3-year-old. Like sometimes I'm like, but it's okay. I'm taking my lessons. Dear viewer, we are taking a very short break. The show returns in a bit. Please don't change the station.